Hello everyone! After a period of relative lull across the UFO community, this week brought plenty of news in comparison, as suddenly pieces seem to be moving more vigorously again on the disclosure board. First, we heard the news about new whistleblower coming forth. Because of the early stage of the alleged revelations, the person behind the claims made no full coming out or self-reveal, if you will, instead relying on being called Ben. The person appeared in an interview on the Disclosure team with Vinny Adams' YouTube channel. According to the owner of the channel, Ben has been vetted including other sources than himself. The intro stated that Ben has not provided physical evidence which could be presented publicly, but has provided information contributing to the wider disclosure effort, including the Congress. Ben, who worked in the military and later on as a military contractor, is an experiencer himself, according to his own claims. He came across the UAP-related information as part of his duty and security clearances, and he came in touch with insiders of the UAP information too. He did confirm that UAP are reality and have been interacting with us and the planet for a really long time now, and that disclosure is not happening for reasons claimed to be enough to cause potential chaos. He claims that the UAP and the intelligence behind it are conducting an intelligence, surveillance and recon activity to unknown ends. You can listen to the entire interview in the link I have provided in the comment section. The references Ben uses do seem to hint to me that he indeed has some military experience and has served, but the drawback of the interview is that we did not really hear anything that would be substantially new. It is more or less a recap or a rehash of everything we have already heard from other whistleblowers, which was the reason why the UFO community was nonplussed about the video, claiming that it does not move the disclosure needle forward. But even before that, we had Jesse Michaels from the podcast American Alchemy delivering an amazing and a very long interview with none other than the late Harald Malmgren and his daughter Pippa Malmgren. Just a few words about Harald himself. He was a presidential advisor in the 1960s and 1970s, most notably to JFK and then to his successors at the White House. You can find the link to the over 3 hours long interview below as well. Here I would like to just recap the key points presented in it. Harald Malmgren held the UFO-UAP material himself, in his hands that is. Interestingly, the person who provided the material for inspection was none other than a grandfather of Jeff Bezos himself. The material came from a plume of a nuclear test in 1962, during which a UAP interacted with a nuclear missile. Harald was briefed by Richard Bissell, who built and designed Area 51 and was one of the deputy directors of the CIA concerning otherworld technologies. These included the UFO crash in Magenta, Italy in 1933. And speaking of technology, a member of foreign intelligence allegedly sent Malmgren a piece of information concerning collaboration between Nikola Tesla and Thomas Townsend Brown on anti-gravity technologies. Already off screen, Harald apparently told his daughter that there had been UFO crash survivors and that he was shown a video of the sole surviving non-human being from the Roswell crash in 1947. Harald also believed that JFK was well read into the UFO topic even before becoming president, by virtue of being involved with naval intelligence. Both JFK and Lyndon Johnson apparently raced to the Bluegill Prime test site to be briefed in person on the incident I have already mentioned. He also discussed the fabled Majestic 12 group. Thus far, he is the highest ranked person from the government mentioning the existence of that group, thus lending moral credibility to its existence. Moving on, we had a new brief video from New Paradigm Institute chaired by Danny Sheehan, a long-standing lawyer defending whistleblowers and involved with the UFO and disclosure movement. Said video made a bold claim, stating that there are actors in the US military who are hell-bent on waging a shadow war against the UFOs or UAPs, using advanced weaponry systems to down the craft and harvest technology from it. This activity allegedly happens without the knowledge and probably against the will of the people. You can see the video in a link posted below as well. Also, on Tuesday we had a hearing in the US Congress, this time titled Securing the Skies, addressing unauthorized drone activity over US military installations, chaired by Representative Timmons, who some of us may recognize from his participation in the recent UAP hearings. This one was dedicated to the unauthorized drone activity we have seen, with the most notable and related events being the incursions at the Langley Air Force Base in late 2023 and the drone wave happening all over the USA in recent months, with New Jersey being the focal point of said wave. The hearing involved FAA representatives and the Rear Admiral Spadero from the US Navy. The other witness present was Secretary Ditlevson. The opening statements focused on the vulnerabilities of military installations to attacks and surveillance carried out using unmanned platforms. The drone incursions are apparently on the rise in numbers. The key takeaway was that the unmanned platforms, or drones if you will, have by now outpaced the defensive systems used to counter them. There was a mention that when the announcement that the New Jersey drones are authorized by the FAA was made, the number of sightings has dropped, and the public largely accepted it as an explanation. That said, there was very much nothing that brushed against the possibility of the drones being non-human technology mentioned. The hearing did mention advanced AI systems used in drone warfare as a very much tangible threat, though. And finally, we have the new episode of the Weaponized podcast run by the veteran UFO-related and awarded journalist George Knapp and his friend investigative UFO journalist Jeremy Corbell. In this episode, they have presented a new whistleblower named Matthew Brown. The episode started off with the secret UAP-related program called Immaculate Constellation, which was presented to the Congress in November last year. It is a UAP umbrella program, as a reminder for those who maybe have forgotten or have not seen it before, and it turned out that Matthew Brown was the actual author of the memo handed over to the Congress during the 2024 UAP hearing. The talk started with the reason for classification of the topic, which is not just the security issues and the tech hidden behind the closed doors, but actually also the fundamental questions that humanity wants to know the answers to, such as whether we are alone. Matthew hinted that the phenomenon includes our birthright to know who we are, where did we come from, and what is alongside with us in this reality. He mentioned the impact of secrecy and the fact that the exotic technology is hidden by a mixed involvement of people who do not have the good of humanity on their minds, and that includes both the military and the private corporate money involved. Matthew mentioned that what he is talking about carries around the tangible risk of life imprisonment and possibly death penalty as a retribution from him coming out. He graduated in international affairs and eventually landed a job with the intelligence agency within the US government. He saw UAP videos during his time in the Pentagon, but without any level of detail first, so basically the same videos that the New York Times presented in 2017. When browsing through data, he noticed a pattern of relation between possibly anomalous surveillance and nuclear facilities, including orbs appearing in the skies. He let in on the secret of tightening the screws inside on the classified information, and David Grush being the name, which mentioned, would result in the intelligence staff member speaking it aloud being fired very much on the spot. Only later and by accident he stumbled upon the information concerning the aforementioned Immaculate Constellation program. He found a file dubbed 2018 Shriver Wargame file, which seemed mundane on the surface. It mentioned the Immaculate Constellation program and the Shriver Air Force Base. Then it mentioned the program being created after ATIP was exposed to the public by Lou Elizondo coming out in 2017. Matthew mentioned he was able to see the person who accessed the file for the last time before him. The name was redacted in the video. All we know that it was a lady, and the community speculates that it could have been Susan Goff, who is dubbed the Pentagon handler of the Aero program, and related officials, Avril Haines, or possibly Kathleen Hicks, alongside a few other names. All of them are big names possibly related to the legacy UAP program or programs. The presentation then showed the mission of the Special Access Program and its objectives. It included a collection of pictures showing a Russian fleet of intelligence vessels in the Pacific Ocean somewhere off the coast of Kamchatka, with a large triangular craft suspended in the air above those vessels. It was an image provided in color. The triangular craft was labeled as an ARV or RV, so a reproduced vehicle of non-human origin or using non-human tag. The craft decloaked directly above the ships, with no visible reaction from the vessels down. Apparently the fleet knew that the vehicle is going to be there. One of the possible assumptions was that the craft was under actual human control. The presentation also showed an orb-type UAP, data on which was supposedly collected all around the world. The preview of the second part of the interview hinted at the current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, discussing the legacy UAP program with none other than Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, formerly in charge of ARROW, the All-Domain Resolution Office, who by virtue of his position should have not been read into said legacy program or programs to keep neutrality. The hint was that some part of the executive branch of the government has been running said programs for more than 60 years without congressional oversight, and effectively outside any government oversight at all. So, as you have just seen, this last week or two have completely exploded with UAP-related news after a long period of quiet. What do you make of the news, dear viewers? Let me know in the comment section down below. I myself am eagerly anticipating the next two parts of the interview with Matthew Brown, not to mention that both George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell mentioned having an army of whistleblowers and their recordings in similar interviews. Be sure I will cover those as soon as they appear. In the meantime, stay warm, thank you for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you soon in another video. Take care.